Hello and welcome. This is Katie. Thanks so much for stopping by. I am back with another project for Maker Forte, and yes, I am making another set of note cards, but I'm going to change things up a bit. We're going to use vellum as our card base, and we're going to make an A1 size card. I'm going to bring it back around, my friends. I think it's the cutest size card, and I don't think they're made enough, so we're going to start making them. So here are the products I'm going to use. I've got some 100-pound Accent Opaque cardstock, very affordable cardstock. You can use 110-pound if you choose. They measure 2 3/4 inches wide by 4.5 inches long. I'm going to use the Hello Spring layering stamp, this main focal stamp for my image today. And then I'm going to use the Confetti Celebrations stamp set for all my sentiments. These two stamp sets I'm showing you here are other options that you can pull sentiments from if you don't have the Confetti Celebration stamp set. I am going to make a vellum card base. So this is what it's going to look like. And I am going to be using 48-pound vellum. I can't stress enough that you want a heavyweight vellum when you're making it as a card base. So I would say nothing less than 48-pound. I got this at Hobby Lobby, but you can go to cutcardstock.com and you can get a nice 48-pound weight vellum. I have that in my stash as well. They also have a 65-pound weight. So we are going to do some ink blending today, and I'm going to use some Yellowstone, Welsh Dragon, Tartan Teal, and Sugar Plum for my inks today. They're all from Maker Forte, and if you haven't tried the Color Hive inks, I can't recommend them enough. They're so versatile. You don't need tons of different, ink, brands of ink. These will do everything you need to do between smushing, water reactiveness, and ink blending. They're go-tos for me. Now, I started off with Yellowstone, and ink blending's one of my favorite technique. It's, the number one thing I like to do in card making. I don't think I've ever done it here for Maker Forte, so that's one of the reasons I'm doing it in today's video. But I know a lot of people struggle with it. If you're one of those people that struggle with ink blending, I have a bunch of videos. I'll link up here, and I'll put the playlist down at the end of the video for you to check out. I give all kinds of tips and tricks, and in every video it's something different. Sometimes it's the same and it's just reiterated, but I can't recommend enough checking out those videos if you struggle with ink blending. Couple things I'm going to tell you. First, don't be afraid to apply pressure. 2, do a figure 8 motion. Don't necessarily have to, I'm doing a circular motion, but at times you see me do a figure 8 motion. That works too to ink blend. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Take your time, apply pressure, and the number one tip I can give you, change your paper. If you're really struggling with ink blending, try some hot pressed watercolor paper. It will change your life when it comes to ink blending. You can use cold pressed watercolor paper. The one thing I definitely say, make sure it's 100% cotton. I know people rave about the Bristol Smooth. I don't find that to be the best to ink blend on, maybe for oxide inks, but especially if you struggle, change over and try some hot press watercolor paper. I will link one that's very affordable down in the description box below. Here I'm showing you just some different ways. If you're not sure where you might want to do your stamping, maybe you have an idea in your mind but you're not sure how it's going to look, use your packaging to place things and see how things might look. It also tells you what it will look like stamped in black, and that maybe you don't want it in black. Maybe you want it in a lighter, like a gray or tone on tone or something. So use your packaging to help you out with where you might want your placement for stamping. So using some Eclipse black ink and my smusher tool, I am going to stamp this down so I get a nice even impression. Going to do all my panels this way, and then I've got my confetti celebration. So I've got happy birthday, love you, thank you, thinking of you. We still could do thanks, you're amazing. I can make a bunch more to add to this set of cards just from the confetti celebration stamp set. So stamping all my sentiments in Eclipse black ink, and I did stamp them twice. I just only showed it the one time here in the video. Now we're going to do our card bases. So vellum, needs to measure 4 7/8 by 7 inches. Doesn't matter which way you cut an 8.5 by 11 inch. One side's going to be 4 7/8, the other side's going to be 7 inches. You just want to make sure that you score at 3.5 inches on the 7-inch side. That's all you need to do. Now, as you saw earlier in the video, I had all these little panels that measured 2 3/4 by 4.5 inches long that we need because we're doing a vellum card base. We've got to be able to write a little note inside. We also need to be able to hide the adhesive. So using some 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive, adding those to all the panels, and now I'm going to start with the front of the card, and I work on a glass mat, and I can put my little magnets down to hold my vellum card base. So it makes it a lot easier, I'm not going to lie. Now I'm taking the inside panel, flipped my card base around, and now I'm lining everything up with that outside piece so we can see through the vellum. It makes it a lot easier to line things up. And with double-sided adhesive, as long as you don't burnish it down, if you don't have things lined up, you can lift up off the vellum, which is really, really nice. Now I'm going to line my next panel for the inside, for the opposite side, for the back side of the card, on top of my inside panel, and then just fold the back of the card over the top and adhere it down. Now I did cut another panel to put on the back side that'll hold my handmade stamp, and then I'll be able to cover up that, I was able to cover up that double-sided adhesive. Cleans everything up. Now I'm going to make an envelope, and I kept this in to show you because I have 2 large punch boards. This is the Martha Stewart, and for a 4-bar card, it's telling you that you need your paper to be 7.5 inches squared. The 1, 2, 3 punch board tells you it needs to be 7.25 square, and this is the We Are Memory Keepers scoreboard that tells you it needs to be 7 inches squared. Now, I'm astounded that 2 of these are from the same company and you have different measurements. I don't know. Here I'm showing you this envelope was made with the 7.25 square, so with that 1, 2, 3 punch board size, and it's pretty big. You got a lot of space, and I understand when you have embellishments and things like that, you need extra room, but that's a lot of space, and even more space with a 7.5 for the Martha Stewart size. So I'm going to use the 7-inch squared, so the paper measures 7 inches all around. And that size comes from that We Are Memory Keepers scoreboard, the large scoreboard. And so when you cut your paper to 7 inches squared, you want to start at 3 inches. So when I started, I lined my paper up to the 3-inch mark and started doing my score lines and cutting, and I kept this part in. Normally I'd edit this stuff out, but I just want you to see I struggle just like you guys. I'm a normal crafter. I just make videos, and we're no different than anybody else. We just edit the stuff out to make it more cohesive and a smoother video experience for you guys. Okay, anyway, as I trim through and I go through, I need to sharpen these blades apparently because this handmade paper, it doesn't want to cut through. By the way, that handmade paper I actually got from Walmart a couple years ago. And it's really, really pretty. It's got this really pretty metallic mica finish on it. But here's our envelope, all complete. I am going to use some liquid glue, but I'm going to show you real quick that you still have room even at the 7-inch side. So even if you had embellishments and things, you could still use a 7-inch square size paper for your 4-bar size cards. But liquid glue, because the double-sided adhesive didn't work real well actually on this particular paper, using my Teflon bone folder from Maker Forte and burnishing that down. I really wanted to give it some time for that adhesive to dry. And I do have one that is completely dry. I'm just checking it there. And we're done with our envelope. So about 20-25 minutes, and we've got a quick set of note cards, a new size, A1 size cards. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Be sure and check the description box below. I'll have everything linked down below for you to check out. Also, a link to the Facebook group, The Crafter Party for Maker Forte. Please join us over there. We'd love to see what you guys are creating. And I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.